Believe that in my church. But that was a moment in which I realized that what is, even what is condoned and legal, is not always right. And felt some sense, because this was a person I loved, to do something about it.
When December 7, 1941 happened, that Sunday afternoon, the next morning I was working at the Coca-Cola Bottling Works. But I left there and volunteered full-time for the Red Cross. And I did everything from first aid, water safety, which I taught, answered the switchboard. But one of the people that has, I think, most influenced me was Ruth Moore, who ran the Red Cross. She taught me all about volunteerism, about doing your best, about how to be a empathetic, caring volunteer, and the responsibility for.
My father had a habit of taking all of them at night, taking the change out. We had a mantle, fireplaces in all rooms, and putting his money up on top of the mantle. And I went and took the money, some money out of there, and took it to school with me and set up everybody at school. You know, we bought penny candy and chewing gum and whatever. But, and I really don't think I took enough that my father really didn't miss it. But I happened to mention it, or some way or another, it became apparent that I had taken this. And of course, my father was going to lecture me, and my mother said to him, "No, you're going to spank her." And he did. And he became ill. As soon as he finished spanking me, he had to go lie down. It was very unusual for him to spank me. In fact, that was about the only time that he'd ever done so. And it broke my heart because he did it. And this was something that he did not do. But it did instill and it did enforce this idea of honesty.
I think the world that my 4 daughters now and son will grow up in is different. And not just because of me, but because of all the women and the men who have worked for change.
I think you have a lot more, as much certainly, being a responsibility for being a good volunteer as you do if you have a paid job. You've got to do your best.
A long, long, long time ago, when the Berlin Wall went up, it was a time of a lot of thoughtfulness on my part about what it meant to us, what it meant to this country. And I decided that there wasn't a lot I had any control over, but every night when I went to bed, I wanted to know that I had done the best I could, and done the best I could for the people I loved very much. And that was all I could ask for, so that when I woke up every morning, I felt good about life. And that worked.
Well, in the beginning, there are a few of us here who started meeting in people's living rooms. There was a passion about it. There was a crusade. It was like a revolution, and we were so angry and excited and thrilled and determined to do something, and we were out speaking wherever we could get a place to speak about the laws on women and discrimination against women and various things.
The reason why we really wanted to have the caucus go forward was because we wanted to get women actually involved in politics and running for campaigns, running for office, because we just needed to get out of the back rooms licking stamps and stuffing envelopes, and on the front side running for campaigns, running for office, and running campaigns for women running for office.
I think the organization is wonderful. Any organization which encourages people to learn about and participate in the political process, I think is absolutely wonderful. I'm one of those old-fashioned people who still think that public service and public office are decent, honorable aspirations, and I think all of us should participate in the life and times in which we live.
The Women's Political Caucus is a really interesting organization because without struggle there can be no progress. And the caucus has worked ceaselessly to struggle for the empowerment of women and girls of all races, of all ages, of all socioeconomic backgrounds. And it has been successful. I think that's why the caucus works well. It is faithful to its commitment to empower women and girls in the political arena.
25 years ago, the voices of a small but determined group of women began to be heard. Voices which would literally change the face of politics in our state and better the lives of thousands of women and families across Tennessee. These voices heralded change, new opportunities, more involvement. This was the beginning of the Nashville Women's Political Caucus.
When the formation of the thing took place in '71, then people in this state began talking about how we could start something here, and of course Carlene Waller was instrumental, as always, in organizing the thing and starting these meetings in people's homes, and we were just desperate to get this done and to see this impacted for women, see women. At that time there was a sense of bipartisanship about the thing, or almost nonpartisanship. We were so anxious to get Republicans and Democrats to run for public office. We weren't so issues-oriented as it is today. We just cared about women, and that was all. And it was just a very exciting period.
In the early 70s, we brought in some national speakers to raise money for the caucus. I remember particularly Sarah Weddington, who was the attorney in the Roe versus Wade litigation, came, and also Congresswoman Bella Abzug came to Nashville. I'm really not sure exactly how we got them. Like the wonderful food on Carlene Waller's dining room table, they just seemed to appear.
Back in 1971, the National Women's Political Caucus was chartered for the stated mission to help women get elected to public and appointed office. And it was evident from the beginning that this organization would become the premier organization among women in helping women get elected to public office. From Nashville, there have been several of us who have been elected to the national office and who have served on committees at the national office. And I want you to know that the national office has been very supportive of the Nashville Women's Political Caucus all through the years.
The Nashville Caucus was officially chartered just a short time after the National Women's Political Caucus was organized. Since the inception of the National Caucus, women members of the United States Congress have tripled. Today, women sit on the Supreme Court and in major cabinet posts. On the local level, there are now over 150 cities which have women mayors, as opposed to only 7 when the caucus began. Here in Tennessee, the Nashville caucus has been at the heart of tremendous change.
Our members were responsible for opening up the YMCA to women and to families. And we also were successful in rolling back the effort to reverse the gains that we had made in the maternity leave bill. And with the passage of the Education Equity Bill, we assured that women will be appointed to the boards of education until 50-50 parity is reached. And so you can see the caucus has really made a difference.
Although the Nashville caucus was founded by a group of determined women, today it also enjoys the support of hundreds of dedicated men.
Women have just a point of view that typically doesn't come across from a man's perspective, and there are just all kinds of issues that touch us on a daily basis. And I think that for us to have a democracy, the people involved in the political process need to reflect the general population. And I think that in Tennessee there's a lot of that occurring. Certainly the caucus promotes that, and that just needs to be what happens.
The caucus is delighted to recognize some of the outstanding men in our community with the annual Good Guys Awards.
The Good Guys Awards are our fundraising celebration that we have each year for the Nashville Women's Political Caucus. What we do is raise money to pay for our lobbying efforts and all the efforts of the caucus throughout the year. And what we do is we honor good guys who have uniquely demonstrated their support of women in the Nashville area. And Drew is our honorary chair for 1998, and she has helped us by raising money and getting people involved in this event, and so we're real honored that Drew is our honorary chair.
Well, I was so pleased to be asked to take part in it. It was quite an honor. You know, I love the Women's Political Caucus.
The Women's Political Caucus is an organization that I have respected and actually been part of for a long time. And many of its founders are people that were very instrumental in me learning about government and politics. And it's a very special award, not only because it means so much in terms of the issues the caucus is involved with, but because of the people involved.
Dramatic changes in terms of recognizing the leadership and worth and value of women. And that's important, because when that resource is left not being used, then society suffers. And so what we need to do is to go out and get resources that are of value. I'm an economist by training, and so I believe in human capital development. And what we're doing is about human capital development, getting the best people for the best jobs, and not looking at gender.
The Nashville Women's Political Caucus is the place where you can get involved. You can get involved and get connected to women. And what's been important about that for me is that when you get involved and get connected, you can work on issues that are important to you and make a real difference.
With the formation of the Nashville Women's Political Caucus, many new opportunities have become available for women in the political process. Among them are a series of workshops the caucus has sponsored to educate women about running for office.
In 1995, caucus members were looking at the Metro Council, and we noticed that we were only going to have one on the Metro Council, and we came up with the slogan, 1 out of 40 is not enough. We worked real hard, and we got 5 women on the council. Now it's 1999, our slogan should be 5 out of 40 is not enough, and we should at least get 10 to 20.
The Nashville Women's Political Caucus was instrumental in my decision to run for public office. Their campaign training workshops not only afforded me the opportunity to meet professional political strategists, but also to hear from other elected women officials what strategies worked in their campaigns. My fellow caucus members were very supportive and encouraging. Not only did they walk the district with me when I was meeting voters, they contributed to my campaign, made phone calls on my behalf, and helped with the distribution of my campaign literature. For all of their hard work and support, I will be truly grateful.
Over the past 25 years, the caucus has matured under the leadership of some of Nashville's most remarkable women. Past presidents include Martha Craig Daughtry, the first woman to sit on the state Supreme Court. Martha Ragland, who is the state founder of the League of Women Voters and in 1960 chaired the U.S. Civil Rights Commission, and Margaret Bem, who established Nashville's first women's law firm in 1980. Margaret is also credited with enabling the Nashville caucus to retain a paid lobbyist. It was the first and remains the only caucus in the nation to do so.
In 1981, we weren't just dealing with women running for office. We were also looking at legislative issues, and there was a commission on the status of women, and but there was forces in the legislature to get rid of it. And for us as caucus members, it was very important because it gave us information. It gave us valuable tools to learn about ourselves. I sat with other caucus members and watched the commission for the status of women go down in flames for lack of a second before the Senate committee. And that day we left there and we went over to a law office and we decided we were going to do something about it. And that something was hiring the first lobbyist for the caucus in the country.
Mary Frances Lyle has lobbied successfully for the caucus since 1982. In that time, the Women's Political Caucus has not lost a single bill.
A great part of our success in everything we do is a direct result of the fact that the members of the caucus focus on goals, not on personalities. It doesn't matter who gets the credit as long as we get the job done.
And this year we had the Tennessee Economic Council on Women. We're really excited about that because it's not just a figurehead group. What that group is going to do is going to actually start getting research and targeting information about why women are in low-income jobs, why women have trouble raising families because of their income levels. And so we're going to really start focusing on the economic problems of women.
At the annual meeting this year, caucus members were welcomed to the governor's mansion by Governor Dawn Sunquist and First Lady Martha Sunquist.
The increased participation of women in public service is healthy. It's a welcome development for our state, for our nation. I think the Nashville Women's Political Caucus has done a lot here for encouraging women to participate and get involved and make a difference in civic and political leadership. And I know a number of people present here are either in elective office or serving in appointive office or in strong leadership positions.
Leadership was, in fact, the reason for the gathering at the Executive Mansion as outgoing caucus president Pam Inman introduced the new board and officers, including incoming president Marianne Bolden.
I first met the board of directors a few years ago when Joanne Pullis, who was president at the time, invited me to come on as parliamentarian. And I was so impressed with the energy level and the commitment of all of the women to many different issues that span from child care to voter registration to making sure that we were represented in every way, that women were represented. And it really was. It was the energy, the enthusiasm, the hard work that just captured me. And I thought, this is a group that I could get involved with, because I had been on many committees where we just weren't able to move forward. And with the caucus, what we do is we move forward. We move at a very fast pace.
It's apparent as we face the challenges of the next millennium that the status of women here in Tennessee will be ever improving under the confident leadership of the Women's Political Caucus. For it truly is the diverse nature of this multi-partisan, multi-ethnic organization which has captured the imaginations and hearts of its members. The Nashville Women's Political Caucus embraces its mission to promote full and equal participation of women in government and in the political process, thus ensuring the future of women and families for generations to come.